Invasions are one of Terraria's most hated mechanics. Time and time again you'll hear people complain about how annoying they can be, and it's rare that you'll actually hear people praising them or saying they're good for the game. Because of this, I think it's important to ask, are Terraria's invasions actually good, or are they just poorly designed? Just to clarify before we get into it, when I say invasion, I'm of course talking about every event in Terraria that can occur randomly without the player's choice. Let's start by talking about the benefits of invasions in Terraria, because it's ridiculous to act like they're entirely useless. I think that in theory they can actually be a really good idea. Forcing the player to come back to their base and engage in an invasion can make the world feel more alive. If there were no events like the Goblin Army or Pirates Invasion, then Terraria would feel a lot more static, like nothing really happens. A lot of good loot can be obtained from these invasion events as well. The Goblin Army has good early hard mode loot like the Shadow Flame Knife, Hexstall, and Shadow Flame Bow. The Solar Eclipse offers the Broken Hero's Sword, Eye of Cthulhu, and Mothron Wings. Martian Madness has the Influx Waver, Cosmic Card Key, Xenopopper, and Xeno Staff. And the Blood Moon provides the Sanguine Staff, Vampire Frog Staff, Shark Tooth Necklace, Money Trough, and way more. It's fair to say that many of Terraria's invasions offer some of the most useful gear in the entire game, so while they may be annoying, they are by no means useless. On top of being decent for gear and making the world feel more alive, Terraria's invasions can also be a pretty good test of skill for upcoming boss fights. If you're constantly dying to the Goblin Army, you probably can't beat the Eater of Worlds. If you keep dying during the Pirate Invasion, you probably can't beat the mech bosses, that kind of thing. Invasions are definitely not the best test of readiness by any means, but it can give you a good estimate of how powerful you truly are. Invasions aren't all bad in this game. They have a lot of benefits and there's no denying that. With that being said, there are also many fair reasons that people can't stand invasions in Terraria, and that's what's really worth talking about. The worst thing about invasions is oftentimes just the timing. Even if it's only a waste of 10 minutes at most, the pacing of a playthrough can be totally thrown off by a random invasion showing up. If you're one Shadow Orb away from fighting the Eater of Worlds, the last thing you want to see is a Goblin Army beginning to invade your spawn. It's a huge distraction, and ultimately the bad outweighs the good. The bigger issue is that invasions like the Goblin Army can occur multiple times in a playthrough without the player ever triggering the event. I think that one random occurrence is totally fair. It's a way to surprise new players and force them to get used to the concept of events if they haven't already. But after fighting your first Goblin Army or Pirate Invasion, it should by no means spawn naturally again. Same thing goes for the Solar Eclipse. I think that if these events only spawn naturally once per playthrough, then they would absolutely get less hate than they do right now. The decent loot you get from some of these invasions simply doesn't make up for the pure inconvenience. The Pirates Invasion is obviously the most frustrating invasion by far because it just doesn't really offer anything. In terms of value, there are very few good items that come out of this event, and the most useful thing you'll get out of it is a few dozen gold coins from selling the golden furniture. Some extra money is nice, but in no way does it make the Pirate Invasion fun or even worth it in most playthroughs. It doesn't really matter if you want to though, since it's likely to show up randomly in your world anyway without you ever summoning it, and that is kinda the problem. Ultimately, I believe that invasions are a great concept with pretty lackluster execution. A lot of the loot you can get from these events is cool, and thematically I really like most of them, but they interrupt regular gameplay far too much. Invasions are a cool novelty on your first few playthroughs, but after a while it becomes nothing more than irritating. What do you think about invasions in Terraria? Do you think they're super fun, or do you think they're super frustrating? Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments, and as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we are on our way to 3K, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.